All right, chaburah, good evening, good Erev Shabbos. So first of all, a tremendous yashar koach to Reb Tzvi. I don't know, like this is it's all right. I'm sorry. I remember, right, Amol, when we used to just have chalent. He used to just, when we started out, when we were in our beginnings, we used to just have chalent. Now, Baruch Hashem, we've got literally carving stations. Reb Tzvi, tremendous yashar koach. Thank you. Especially yashar koach to our Scotch and bourbon sponsors. Our Scotch sponsor, Yaakov Ben Zakain, in honor of Steve Galaskov. Where's Steve? In honor of Steve Galaskov, Baruch Hashem, the Scotch is in honor of you. Who was our bourbon sponsor?
I was hoping the bourbon sponsor was in honor.
Are you the bourbon sponsor? You're the bourbon sponsor. Okay, the bourbon sponsor. The bourbon sponsor, Yaakov Ben Zakain, in honor of Steve Galaskov. Beautiful, beautiful. And who was the Scotch sponsor?
Jerry Applebaum.
Jerry Applebaum, Shkach Jerry. In honor of? In honor of our chaburah. In honor of our chaburahs, b'nei Machshava chaburah, Meretz Hashem. B'nei Machshava Torah. Both say incredible. So first of all, it is such a schos. Baruch Hashem, I hope that last week, everybody got a little taste of the piazetzna, in addition to the pastrami last week, and so you got a taste of the brisket. What's next week, by the way?
Prime rib. I've never known.
I think you're getting requests now.
Absolutely. It's a $750 donation to the shul.
Yes. You could pay it off over a week.
We have accurate historical data of when exactly he wrote this particular piece?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Like
I'll forward that to you a little bit. We spoke a little bit last week, but we'll get into that in Meretz Hashem. So we're continuing this week in our Sefer B'nei Machshava Tova, and again, just to kind of set the table again, as we continue in Meretz Hashem. So remember, the Piazetzna wrote this Sefer as a response. There was a small chaburah, a small group of people who wanted to grow in their avodas Hashem. And as the Piazetzna told us specifically, the way they wanted to grow was, I think that the most beautiful thing the Piazetzna said in last week's shir was the idea that you could worship Hashem as avodim or banim, as servants or sons. Now the truth is, both are forms of worshiping Hashem. What's the difference? Avodim, worship from a distance. Banim, worship in close proximity. And so the Piazetzna said he was approached by a chevra, and they wanted to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu as banim, as sons, not as servants, but mamish as sons. So the Piazetzna wrote this sefer as guidance as how to create the chaburah, how to create a group of people who could work together. Yonis and I were speaking about this afterwards. It's a spiritual support group. It's a spiritual support group. It's a group of people that come together, they're willing to make themselves vulnerable to one another, and that are willing to grow with each other. So the Piazetzna, we left off on page 8. Page 8. It's page 8 on the handout. It's page 8 in the Sefer. The handout is taken from the Sefer. So on page 8, remember again, we began the section, Seder Tochen HaChevra. Exactly how is this Chevra formulated? So remember again, in Os Aleph, so the Rebbe said, number one, this is not a social action Chevra. Right? It's not a chevra about politics. It's not a chevra about societal issues. This is a chevra that only discusses one thing: how to become closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How to become the kind of person who serves HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not just with like part of my body or at some of the time, but with all of my body all of the time. This is a chevra that's focused on how do I go ahead and ultimately, how do I go ahead and become a son to the Ribbon Shalom? That's what we're focused on. So step number one is understand what the Chevra is. Step number two, the Rebbe said, is recognize Habe Drachim Yesh Lamakom. There are many ways in which one could come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So our chaburah, we're going to talk about certain ways, but there are other ways. And we have to learn to respect the fact that there are other ways to come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as us. So we're beginning at the bottom of page 8. This is so beautiful. Lachin, Gam Anu. So listen to what the Piazetzna says. And I will say, I think what you're going to find beautiful about this Sefer is, the reason why I want to learn this is because so much of this is devoted to the Piazetzna writing about the human condition, the things we struggle with. And I think what you're going to find amazing is sometimes when we think about great people, we think that great people, like you think about, what did the Piazetzna struggle with? What did he struggle with? Oh, so Piazetzna, what did he struggle with? To learn 15 hours or to learn 16 hours. Josh, did you bring your own cup? Is that what I see over there? Wow. Mom, this is a shir, not like a frat party or something over here. What's going on?
Cup sizes are
that is a large cup.
beautiful if you weren't in it.
Beautiful. The cup should be befitting for mamish. Incredible.
Best red plastic.
So what's amazing is what you're going to see throughout the Sefer is the Piazetzna really, the struggles that the Piazetzna highlights are all the same struggles we all have. The human condition is the human condition. Of course, it manifests itself differently for different people, but lemaisa, on just a basic human level, the struggles of a person are the struggles of a person. So look at the Piazetzna says, bottom of page 8. Lochein, gam anu, kol echad me'itonu doigo mitztar tamid al atzmo. We'll say in general, what happens? We'll say this is so beautiful because it allows us to get in touch with ourselves. Piazetzna says, I worry about myself. What do I worry about? Sof ma yihye imadi. And we'll say, what do I worry about? Well, how do you translate this? Sof ma yihye imadi. How would you translate that? Sof ma yihye imadi. In the end, what's going to be with me? I will tell you, I've mentioned this a number of times. I've spent a lot of my career around death. I know it sounds morose, but it's, I've been with people during their last moments, and it's always amazing to see the remorse that people express in their last moments. I didn't live the life I wanted to lead. I wasn't the father. I wasn't the husband. I wasn't the son. I wasn't the friend. I wasn't the Jew. And it's amazing. It's an overwhelming musar to hear people who are literally at the end of life. And in that moment, you can't hide behind anything, right? You can't hide in the office. You can't hide behind other things. You just have to go ahead and confront the life you lived. And it's been remarkable for me to experience over the years just the amount of remorse that comes out. And I will say, I'll tell you something amazing. What happens in general when you hear someone say something like a regret or a remorse? What do you say? It'll be okay. You'll change. You'll turn it around. When you hear that expressed by a person who is really in their last moments of life, what do you say? You'll turn it around? You're not going to turn it around. Right? It is what you'll do better next time. You'll do it. It's an amazing thing. And so what the Piazetzna says is deep down, the fear that all of us live with, although most of us suppress it to the subconscious, and we don't really think about it, is so. Look at that. We'll say that phrase, sof kol sof. Ma yihye imadi. At the end of the day, what's going to be with me? Right? Because I will say, if you think about it, we busy ourselves with all kinds of things, right? I run here, I do this, I do that, I this. So the great part about being busy is what? What's the best part about being busy? The best part? You don't have to think about your life. Because I'm busy. By the way, I'm busy with good things. The best part about being busy is I don't have to think, because thinking is scary. Because the moment I think, I have to really think about sof. Ma yihye imadi. What's going to be with me? So the Piazetzna says, Yom v'yom. Ani mishtogek lios karov la'Hashem. B'chol machshava dibor amaisa. So the Piazetzna says, and we'll say, this is the Piazetzna talking. So the Piazetzna says, I just want to tell you, Chevra, I want to tell you what I struggle with. So the Piazetzna, you know what I struggle with every single day? I think about. Sof ma yihye imadi. What's going to happen with me? Yom v'yom ani mishtokik lios karvel Hashem. Every single day, I yearn to be close to Hashem. B'chol machshava, dibor, umaisa. I yearn to be close to Hashem with every thought, with every speech, with every action. U'lechol ha'pachos shelo yeh meruchak mimenu u'mushlach chas Hashem b'soch yavim mitzula. So the Rebbe says something amazing. Every day, what do I yearn for? I yearn to be close. But if I can't be close, the Rebbe says, at least what? I shouldn't be far. Such an interesting phraseology. I yearn to be close, but if I can't be close, at least I shouldn't be far. And the Rebbe says, see, in other words, what the Rebbe is describing over here is, with Hashem, there's kind of like this intermediate stage, which is, I'm not close, but I'm also not far. I yearn to be close, but at least I daven that I shouldn't be far. Umikol makom, b'chol yom v'yom ani biyadi shover as haratzon hazeh shel atzmi. But the Piazetzna says every single day, I have to strive to go ahead and break that ratzon, that will that is inside of me. Ve'eni mamtin ad sheyashlich Hashem osimi al panav chas v'shalom. See, says the Piazetzna, that in life, there are often two ways in which we address our problems. More often than not, when and how do we address it? What was I saying? More often than not, when do we address our problems? When? Right? So it could be never, or when we have to. Like, in other words, when I hit crisis, and now I see, I love to ignore my problems so I don't have to deal with them. Okay, that works. That works until when? Until it doesn't. And when doesn't it? Rabbi says, it happens. I hit a crisis, and now I have to deal with it. So the Piagetna says, I try at least, bless you, to be a proactive person. So you have to look at the stages. What I yearn more for anything is to be close to you. If I can't be close to you, at least I don't want to be far from you. But I want to be the kind of person who proactively deals with my issues. I don't want to be the kind, he says, I don't want to be the kind of person who only deals with his issues because now he realizes he's been exiled from God, I'm far from Hashem, my life is not going as I want it to be. So now suddenly I realize I can't run from my issues anymore. I want to be the kind of person who proactively confronts, or we'll say proactive confrontation of life issues is probably the hardest thing to accomplish in life. Because it's almost like the default is run/ignore. At least let me be the kind of person who proactively confronts. Rak ba'atzmi mashlich ani, top of page 9. Rak ba'atzmi mashlich ani esatzmi, amakomos lo yiduim, tohim ubohim ben chamra asna v'kalba. The Piagetna says, because in reality, I so often throw myself, or really put myself, into all the wrong places. So I will say, it's an interesting thing in life, that sometimes in life we end up in the wrong place. Whether it's a geographic place, an emotional place, a spiritual place. But Lamaisa, then I think to myself, like, how did I get here? And I will say, if I'm honest with myself, then at the end of the day, what? More often than not, how did I get here? I put myself there. Either, again, there are two different versions. I let myself fall there, or I put myself there through my actions. Piagetna says, what's going to be the end? Yameinu ushnosenu b'soch kach ovrim ba'oni b'yagon b'Hashem b'haya ki nikrav al yom ha'acharon rak az nokitz. Says the Piagetna, how could it be that we remain asleep, right? We remain asleep until the last day, right? Literally, again, until it's too late. Then we wake up. Nake elav avenu v'nitzak oy lanu ma asinu. And sometimes only when it's too late in life, only when I get to the last day, I wake up and I say, what's going to be with me? Sof, ma yihiyeh imadi. The Piagetna says, Lama zeh benafshinu v'gufenu, anu nimtsoim berefesh schiumos. Why is it that I allow myself to live in his lashon is very strong here. Why is it that I allow myself to live in a state of spiritual filth? I was say he's wording over here. He's not. Why do I allow myself to live in a state of spiritual filth? Why did I take my life and just make it so base and make it so unholy and make it so just divested of kedusha? Ritzonios, machshavos, v'tayma nemuchos shekutza nafshi ata bohem ustam shtuyos. Why do I busy myself with shtuyot? With all the... I just want to point out, the Piagetna is not giving musar. He's not giving musar. What is he saying over here? What is he saying?
70 years ago.
Right? I'm saying, by the way, right, this is 70 years ago. By the way, it's actually more than 70 years ago, right? Remember again, this is actually closer to 100 years ago, right? Because the Piagetna wrote this probably in the 1930s, right? In the 1930s or so. Because remember again, the Piagetna died in 1943, right? So this was written before the war. So I just want to point out. So again, I want to just be clear. The Piagetna is not giving musar. What he's giving us is to a window into his own soul. He's saying, like, what is the stuff I struggle with? The stuff I struggle with is, why do I make bad decisions? Why do I make bad decisions day in and day out? Why do I put myself in circumstances that I should not be in? Why do I do things that I should not do? Why do I allow myself to become a person that I know I should not become? And then I make these bad decisions, and I say to myself, what's going to be with me? What's going to be with me? Ubiyadi, So the Rebbe says, I took myself out of the realm of holiness and purity. No one else took me out of it. No one else. Again, it's always tempting to blame. No one else took me out of the world of Kiddush and Tara. I took myself out. V'shlachti osi el tomazu ama v'akir. V'cheven shekol echem mitano daigazu michar semes tamid es libo u'menakeres es mocho. So the Piagetna says, for all of us, these are the thoughts that are constantly rattling around our hearts and minds. I will say, by the way, isn't it profoundly affirming to know that the Piagetna was struggling with this? Right? You think to yourself, the Piagetna was a tzaddik, a Rebbe. Everything was perfect.
Well, so that, he doesn't come out and talk about his issues.
No.
These things were.
Correct. He doesn't tell us, like, specifically, but even without telling us, it's so affirming to know that these were the things he was thinking. He's human. Yeah. He's human. And what the Rebbe is saying is...
Didn't he suffer loss before the war?
The Rebbe's mother passed away when he was young. His father passed away when he never knew his father. Right. He never knew his father. His father passed away in his infancy.
So that
right?
certainly can affect a person.
100%. Of course.
Yeah.
I think regardless of what the Rebbe is saying is, the human condition is the human condition. You know what the human condition is? We make bad decisions. And we put ourselves in bad places in life. And whereas our reflexive reaction is often to blame someone when I'm in a bad space in life, more often than not, when I'm in a bad spot, I put myself there. But by the way, I just want to point out, I'll just say this before we go on. Here's the great news. Like Rabbi Nachman says such a beautiful line. Im ata ma'amin she'ata yachol lahaster or lihisater, so ta'amin she'ata yachol libanot. He probably didn't say it with a taf. He probably said it with a saf, with a little I. He probably didn't say it in Hebrew. He probably said it in Yiddish. But l'maisa, the Rebbe says like this: if you believe that you can destroy, you should equally believe that what? That you could build. So I'll say, remember, it's two sides. That if I could destroy myself, I could build myself. So I just want to point out, the Piagetza is not giving Musar. The Piagetza is trying to set the table for what it is that we have to accomplish. Because I will tell you, since I started learning the Sefer over the summer, since I started, this phrase has haunted me. Sof ma yihiyeh imadi. At the end of the day, what is going to be with me? When I lie on my deathbed, hopefully not till 120, I always think about this. Am I going to be that person with remorse? Am I going to be that person with sadness? Am I going to be that person with regrets? Am I going to be that person who's lamenting the life that he should have lived? Sof ma yihiyeh imadi. So the Piagetna goes on. He says, the Kevan. So all of us have the same. We're all in the same boat. We all have this same concern, right? I'm not going to ask for a show of hands as to who has made bad decisions in life, because even if you don't put your hand up, you're lying, right? That's a bad decision of itself, right? To lie about it's a bad decision, right? Some of us put two hands. Listen, we've all done it. I'm sorry? Today, right? In the last 15 minutes, I was like, I shouldn't have eaten, right? I shouldn't have eaten the brisket. So I'm just saying, like...
Why is that a bad decision?
Right? It's a matter of perspective. I'll just point out something amazing, which is that, like, at the end of the day, the Piaget is saying... We've all put ourselves in bad spots. We've all made bad decisions. So the Piagetna says, "Utrufa lelibo hashavay nemotze." I'm saying, here's the issue. That phrase is also very profound. Trufa lelibo hashavay nemotze. And I can't find a remedy for my broken heart. So what the Piaget says over here is, both saying, making bad decisions is one thing. Making bad decisions is one thing. They'll say, what's the other problem? The other problem is, I can't find a remedy. I can't find a fix. They'll say, we all know that feeling, right? You know that feeling when, like, you've made a bad decision. Okay, so at least I've had the courage to own I've made a bad decision. And now, all I want is to fix it. And then what? I can't. Or at least, I can't figure out how to fix it. I will tell you, having lived this many times in my life, that feeling of knowing you can't fix it is even worse than the feeling of knowing you made the bad decision. No? Because making a bad decision, that's human. But like in the back of my mind, whenever we make a bad decision, in the back of my mind always is that, okay, I'll fix it. Echte v'ashuv. I'll sin and I'll do tshuva. And then when I have that moment, that lemaisa again, I realize that, at least I think I can't fix it. Terrible. So the Rebbe says it's compounded. Lazos, I will say, so now it's been a little, Baruch Hashem for the brisket, it's lifted us up. If not, we'd be mamish down in the gutter. So the Piagetzna's words are very heavy. But here's the good part. Lazos, his chaburah yachad. I will say, this is why we come together every single Thursday night. This is why we are a chaburah. This is why we're learning this together. L'zos hischabarnu yachad, limtso emtsoim matimim linemuche roach kamonu. I will say, why are we learning together? We're learning together to find strategies. Because I will say, each of us is broken. We're all broken. The only shaila is, some of us are more broken, some of us are less broken. But there's no such thing as someone here who's not broken. But here's the good news. By myself, I often can't find the remedies to my broken kite. But together we can. As a chaburah, what we're united around is, I'm a broken person. I am. I fully, and by the way, I'm not quoting the Sefer, I'm acknowledging it. I am a broken person on many different levels. But Lamaisi, here's what I know. I know it by myself. I often can't figure out how to fix me. I can't figure it out. I've been broken for such a long time. I know it's broken. I know how I broke it. I know even why I broke it. I just can't figure out how to fix it. So says the Piagetzna's, that's the power of this chaburah. The power of this chaburah, the kulanu yachad na'avod yachad be'emsa'im elu as Hashem echad. The kulei hai v'ul. So I will say, we come together as a chaburah. Why? Because maybe collectively, we could. So here's the chav. Maybe collectively, we could figure out how to fix what's broken inside of ourselves individually. Maybe collectively, we could figure out how to fix that which is broken individually. V'kulei hai v'ulai yazar Hashem. Furthermore, Hashem sees. I just want to point out to you something amazing. It's Thursday night, 8:30. You could be doing anything. Granted, you would probably like be eating pizza or something, right? But you could do anything. I'm sorry? Football. Is Thursday night football now?
First night.
Really? What time does it start?
Now.
Started now? It is now. Good. Okay. So, Meir Hashem, the good news is that there will be overgrown men in tight pants jumping on each other for many hours. Right? There'll be plenty of opportunity to watch that in Meir Hashem. So, I don't know what that's all about. It seems like a lot of misplaced stuff. Right? But that's fine. That's all right.
Is this a Matt Marks?
No. It's a different show, whatever it is. Good. Whatever that is. Hey, so what I'll point out is something amazing. Like, if you think about it, we could be doing anything. So I just want to point out, the Ribbon, all kidding aside, the Ribbon Shel Olam sees that why are we here? We're here because we have a Rebbe, the Piagetzna's. Piagetzna's is our Rebbe. And the Rebbe is telling us that there's a way to fix that which is broken inside of us. There's a way to do it. Now, we don't know how to do it yet, but there's a way. And we're here. We'll say deep down subconsciously what draws us here is, I know I'm broken, but I don't want to stay broken. I want to fix it. And the Piagetzna's, our Rebbe, is going to show us how to fix it. So the Piagetzna's says that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that you want to fix that which is broken inside of you, He helps you. There's Siyata Dishmaya. What we'll say, it's no different than a human parent, right? When a human parent sees that their child wants to accomplish something, what does a parent do? I'm going to help my kid. Whatever it is, whether it's my kid learning to ride a bike, or my kid doing his college essay, or my kid chazering his Gemara, if my child is trying to accomplish it, I want to help them. So says the Piagetzna's, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that we want to accomplish something, He helps us. Os Gimel. V'chevon shekain. Now we'll say now that this is true. So remember again, so far we have 3 points. Point number 1, the point of the chaburah is not politics, is not current events, is nothing except. I have something to say about current events, but I'm not going to say it now. It's interesting, but okay, we'll leave it for a different time. Let's say so again. Not current events. Base. Our chaburah is going to try to find a way to fix that which is broken, because there's something broken inside each of us, and our goal is to identify and fix that which is broken. To work backwards, however, there are different ways to fixing that which is broken. So if there's another chaburah that's fixing their broken kite in a different way, don't look down on them. Os gimel, v'chevon shekain, anu modiim bazeh shel chaburah sinuzu. So get ready for this. So now the Piagetz says, when it comes to creating this type of chaburah, it's not open enrollment. See, I'm just going to point, we're going to get kind of selective as who comes to the shir, right? And it's also going to be based on how many times you go back to the carving station. And so it says, third trip already by now. So the Piagetz says something amazing. The Piagetz writes, the chayvan shekain. So I have to understand something. What we're doing over here on Thursday nights, this is not a shir. It's a chaburah. So the Piagetz says, to be part of this chaburah, you have to be, look what he writes, Anu modiyam bazeh, shelechavarosenu zu yiskablu rak anoshim do'agim ke'elu. And in order to be part of this chaburah, Bosai, you have to be the kind of person who worries about the parts of you that are broken. So if he says Piagetz, if you think you're fine, and you think you're good to go, and you don't think you need to improve, and you don't think you need to grow, and you think nothing's broken inside of you, says the Piagetz, this is not the chaburah for you. This is not the chaburah. I will say this chaburah is only for broken people. This chaburah is only. We didn't put that on the flyer because you just thought it would be a little bit off-putting. It's a difficult marketing piece.
We get to spin it.
Right, you can spin it. Let's say maybe we'd have a lot more attendance. Let's say this chaburah, says the Piagetz, to be part. We'll say we're a chaburah, we're a group. This chaburah, this group, is only open to broken people. If you're whole, if you think you're shalem, go to a different shir. Go there, Baruch Hashem, plenty of shiurim. Don't come here. Don't come here. This chaburah is only for people who feel that they're broken. Piagetz says, "Ve'elu anoshim sheyodam b'nafshim she'imam michvasim tachas hasoga zeh b'afarim niskalael." And anyone who thinks that they're not broken, right? Any person who anything we've learned up until now, they say, that's not me. I'm not broken. I'm fine, right? I'm good. I'm good. If you feel that way, look what the Piagetz writes. Mevakshim anu mehem al tikansu lechavarasenu. Don't come to the chaburah. Never in my life have I ever told someone this year's not for you. This year's not. Says the Piagetz, if you think you're whole and you think you're good and you think you have nothing to work on, don't come. Don't come. Then this is not the place for you. Baruch Hashem, there's many other opportunities for growth and learning, but probably this is not the right chaburah. V'lo tito es atzmechem ba'osanu. Because why? See, what the Piagetz is saying is like this. If you don't think you're broken, let me say differently. A person thinks that they're whole, then there's nothing for you to work on. If there's nothing for you to work on, then the avodah that we're going to outline doesn't apply to you. And if you're in a chaburah that doesn't apply to you, you're going to tune out, and you're going to bring others with you. So it says the Piagetz, this is only a chaburah for broken people. And if you think you're shalom, and you think you're whole, and you think you're good, and you think you've got it all figured out, leave. And not literally. I'm saying like this chaburah is not for you. Don't ruin it for everyone else. Because what it says, we're going to see part of the power of this chaburah is a willingness to make yourself vulnerable. And what's the ultimate level of vulnerability? To say, I'm broken. I am broken. I will say, it's the most overwhelming thing in life, because so many of us, we put on like confident, self-assured faces, right? We've got it all under control. Everything is perfect. And we're so broken. We're just so broken on so many different levels. So the Piagetz says, if you're not broken, this is not the chaburah for you. And it's better, because again, we're going to make ourselves vulnerable. We're going to make ourselves open to learning and to growing and to fixing. And therefore it only works if you feel that you have something to work on. V'lo od, ela, she'ein anu seveim ratzon kol kach, bikro ish kazeh es hakuntros hazeh gamkein. Ve'efshar nirmos gam zeh divrei hamedrash al Yisrael shelo gilu mistorn. So skip down, he says, skip down. Good. Skip to the next chart. So Ostala. Let's go a little bit weiter. So again, remember in Gimel. So we'll say. So now we have 4 parts so far. So the 4th part is this chaburah is only for the brokenhearted, not brokenhearted, for broken people. If you think you're whole, find a different share. But if you're willing to acknowledge that you're broken, like all of us are, we'll say. I just want to point out, everyone's broken. Just some acknowledge it, some don't acknowledge it. If you're willing to acknowledge that you're broken, then this is the share for you. Ostalid. Next, Vagam. So we're going to see in the next section, we're going to see again kind of a little bit more about how to form the group. It says the Piaget, the Mikol Makom, Reishis Ka'anu Tzrichen L'Modazu, Lomar, Sherak Eyu Yuchlu L'Hiskarev, U'Likanis L'Chebrak HaKadosha. And I will say, here are the requirements for entrance into the chaburah. So I will say, so again, and this is important because the Piaget says as we go through this list, if I don't conform to these criteria, it's probably better not to be part of the chaburah. Part of the chaburah, because what the Piaget is essentially saying is, you'll only gain from this limud if you fit the criteria of the chaburah. What are the criteria? Aleph, mishemargish be'emes b'kirbo ke'ev v'da'avon haniska le'el. Bless you. Someone will say who really feels a pain. Bless you. A pain of being distant from Hashem. So I will say, first criteria of entry is self-awareness. And self-awareness is, I am not holding where I need to be holding in my Yiddishkeit. Maybe I'm an Eved. Maybe I'm someone who is meshubad, who is in a state of servitude to Hashem. But at the end of the day, I'm not a ben. I'm not close. So I do stuff, behaviorally, I fulfill all the mitzvahs, but l'maisa, at the end of the day, I'm still distant. So someone who feels that he is, Jose, by the way, this is the only chaburah you're ever going to find in Yiddishkeit, where the criteria for entry is being distant and broken. I will say, every other chaburah in Klal Yisrael, right, is what? Criteria for entry is closeness, shalom, Talmud Chacham. I will say this is the most hilig chaburah in the world, because this is the chaburah of the brokenhearted. So says the Piaget, the criteria number 1, you have to acknowledge that you're broken, that I'm far from Hashem. I'm not where I need to be in my relationship with Hashem. V'lo sheyeda b'daito levad es matzavo hanamuch ki yadia b'seichel kol echad yodea imrak eino meshuga o shikar. But the Piaget says it's not enough to know intellectually that ultimately that I'm far. Ach be'emes yargish ke'ev leiv. I will say, do I feel it in my heart that I'm far? See, intellectually I know that I'm far, but do I feel it? I will say, is there ever that moment where I feel distant from Hashem? I feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Not that I recognize it intellectually. I feel it. So criteria number 1, ach be'emes yargish ke'ev leiv. The Piaget says, criteria number 1 for being part of this chaburah, you have to feel the pain of being distant. I feel it with all of my heart. That I'll tell you something amazing. I was just at a bar mitzvah. The Chemi was just at the, we were just all to say, we're at a bar mitzvah. So it was very interesting. So middle school boy bar mitzvah, Baruch Hashem, so beautiful. And you see the boys dancing. And they're dancing with such a sweetness and such an innocence, and you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have some of that. I wish I could just that's the Piaget saying, that moment when you just feel, maybe I'm doing everything behaviorally correct, right? I'm checking the boxes, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I do not feel close to my Father. I don't feel close to Him. The Piaget says, great, you don't feel close? You're in. You're in. I'll say you're in. So this is the only time where the criteria for admission is that I feel, okay, that's number one. Number two, Beis. Shia ben Torah, ema'atim harbe. Criteria number two, you have to be a ben Torah. What does he say? But he qualifies it. What does he mean? Be a ben Torah, ema'atim harbe. What is that? How would you translate that? Be a ben Torah? A little bit or a lot. Meaning, you have to be someone who values Torah. You value Torah a little, you value Torah a lot, right? But you gotta be someone who values Torah. Good. Beis. Gimel. We'll say, get ready for this. Yes, sochar, ba'malacha v'chulei. Rak sheyifne es atzmo akol panim gimel pamim b'shavol l'makah chevra. You have to have a job. You have to have a job, right? But with your job, you have to be the kind of person that's willing to devote yourself at least he says, at least 3 times a week to this avodah that we're going to do. Now, don't get nervous. We're not having shir 3 times a week, right? And Tzvi is the most nervous, right? So we're not having shir 3 times a year, but we're going to see as we continue this chaburah, that also what it requires is, this is not like a once a week check-in. This avodah is going to be a minimum of 3 times a week. I will say we'll discuss what that avodah is, and also what the Piaget is saying is, listen, if you're serious, I will say, think about this for just a moment. Name one thing you're serious about that you only do once a week. Person, I go to the gym once a week. Exactly, right? Exactly. Right? You go to the gym. I go to the gym once a week. Why? Because I do it to check a box. I'm not serious about it. If you're serious about going to the gym, if you're serious about exercise, person exercises every single day or whatever, a number of times during the week. What's I think about it? Whatever skill you want to hone, no one hones a skill by simply checking in with that skill once a week. So the Piaget says, so criteria number 3 is, you're a professional, great. You're committing yourself to a check-in 3 times a week about this. We'll see what that check-in looks like. Dalit. I will say this is incredible. So you just follow the list of criteria. They're incredible. So number 1, I have to acknowledge I'm a broken person. You have to be broken to be part of this chaburah. Number 2, you have to at least be rooted in Torah somewhat. Number 3, you have to be willing to have a check-in with the program 3 times a week. Number 4, get ready for this. Im eno bitivo hafachfach. Great word. What's an afachfach? An afachfach, what?
Like a flip-flopper.
A flip-flopper. Right? So let's say, or perhaps what we call it is an indecisive person. You cannot be an indecisive, non-committal flip-flopper. That's the definition of hafachfach. If you are an indecisive, non-committal flip-flopper, not for you. Look what he writes. Well, it's incredible. Shema shemachlit hayom b'daito migoldo pechazuso mevatel v'romes l'machar kila'achar yad. We'll say, you can't be the kind of person who decides on something today and then what? Changes his mind tomorrow. Now, let's say, this chaburah requires a commitment. A commitment. So you have to ask yourself, am I the kind of person who is capable of honoring commitments? Could I be the person who asks, or am I a hafachfach? It sounds so much worse than it is, right? That's right. Am I a hafachfach, right? Am I an indecisive, non-committal flip-flopper? Hey, so what the Piaget is saying is, gotta be committed. You gotta be committed to the program. And hey, we'll say last one. We'll start with this tonight. It's incredible. Shelo yehi shakran v'ramoy shakur b'shakarav. Can't be a liar. Can't be a liar. Or I will say, better stated, not really a liar. What does he mean? You can't be someone who engages in self-deception. You have to be an honest person with yourself. With yourself. Ki yesh ish shemotzi l'pam davar shakar chas v'shalom. There are some people who lie. Hagam shezeh ra ma'od rachmana litzlan. Mika makom yachol od lashuv yachol gam niskal b'chavarasenu. So I will say, so if someone tells lies, okay, so, people tell lies for all kinds of reasons. Hey, Shabbos, so such a person could still have a place in our chevra. I will say someone who lacks honesty and integrity can't be a part of this chaburah. What Rabbi says the Piaget, Because honesty and integrity is a cornerstone for personal work. I can't work on myself if I'm not honest. Because the Rebbe say, if I'm not honest, I'm just going to lie to myself about others. I'm going to lie to myself about where I'm holding, what I am, what I'm not. Al ish kazeh shamati, quotes over here from his father-in-law, Shom b'shem Izet Tzadik, zchusi yagin aleinu, sha'af lo shuv i'efsha ish kazeh. I will say, because a liar, a person who is engaged in a constant cycle of self-deception, can't even be about tshuva. I will say, why can't you be about tshuva? I will say, what's the first step of tshuva? First step of tshuva? Right? Even before vidui. Or I should say, the first step of vidui is what? Hakara sachet. A recognition of what I did wrong. Right? That's the first step. Right? Chatosi avisi pashati. Well, if I'm not honest, I never even get to chatasi. I will say chatasi is the moment of just incredible self-awareness and self-truth. I've messed up in life. So if I'm a liar, if I'm not a truthful person, I'm out with other people, with myself, says the Piazetzna, you're not going to be able to do any of the work that you want to do in this chaburah. Mipnei shegam teshuvaso b'sheker k'nitzgal shemerames atzmo hu yochol lidmos lo achas yaset tzadik po va'oseh ube'emos l'tzadik. Because mostly when a person lies to themselves, they could convince themselves that they're a tzaddik when in fact that they're not. So Rabbi say, here the Piazetzna says, here are the 5 criteria for being part of this chaburah. And Rabbi say again, as I mentioned last week, right now this is our chaburah. My dream, what I hope we could do in Miras Hashem as time goes on, is after we finish the Sefer, split up into smaller chaburahs, do the work that the Piazetzna. But for now, this is our chaburah. Says the Piazetzna, the 5 criteria ultimately for being part of this chaburah. Number 1, you have to believe that you're broken. You have to believe that you're broken. And accept and acknowledge that you're broken. Number 1. No, that's number 1. Number 2, you have to be attached to Torah in some way. Number 3, I have to be committed to working the program at least 3 times a week. Number 4, I can't be a non-committal, inconsistent flip-flopper. I have to be the kind of person that when I make a decision, I'm committed. And number 5, says the Piazetzna, I have to be honest. I have to be honest. Because at the end of the day, if I'm not honest, specifically with myself, I can't advance any personalistic level. Rebelli, what were you going to ask?
Regarding the flip flopper, it just with decisions or regarding the mitzvahs, like where is it going exactly or general?
Clinical tests have shown if you're a flip flopper in one area, you're a flip flopper in all areas. Right? There's no such thing as an episodic flip flopper. Right?
Yeah, John Kerry.
No.
I feel like we see that.
No. It's a midah. It's a midah. I'll tell you like this. It's like people who say, I'm honest when I do business with Jews, but I'm dishonest with non-Jews. Here's a piece of business advice. Don't do business with that person. Because chances are, if you're dishonest with someone, you're dishonest with everyone. If you're a flip-flopper in one area of life, that means you're a flip-flopper. You're an indecisive person. I've yet to see a person
So goes it with hay, with the shed.
You have to be honest. Oh, by the way, hey, as Rebelli's saying good. Hey, self-awareness, and more importantly, just personalistic honesty, actually goes back on all of these things. Because the truth is, it's really number. It's interesting. I was thinking about this. I don't know why the Piazetzna didn't purchase number 1, because the truth is, without personalistic honesty and self-awareness, you can't do any of these other things. So I will say these are the 5 criteria. So now again, just to kind of, we'll stop over for time, but just to frame what we've done. First of all, I will say, what a schus we have to learn the Piazetzna every Thursday night. It's just the Rebbe he's in our lives. He's part of our avoda. So we'll say, so far what we've done, right, is in the first section we've seen the purpose of this chaburah, right? In the second section, ultimately again, we've seen the purpose of the chaburah, and now we'll say in this third section, what we've just done, it's still part of the second section, but what we've done is we've outlined the criteria ultimately to be part of the chaburah. So we'll stop over here for tonight. We're going to continue with the Savoda next week as well. And also we should just be zocha. Again, you can see already, the reason why the Sefer is so powerful is because you begin to see, I hope you're feeling it, that even as the Piazetzna is just outlining what it means to be part of the chaburah, there's so many profound life lessons. Right? The life lessons of acknowledging my broken kite. Right, the life lesson ultimately again of recognizing that if you're going to be successful in something, you have to be committed. The recognition that at the end of the day, you have to be decisive. And the recognition that at the end of the day, you have to be honest. Yes, sir. So.
I was just going to say that once I was curious, I read through the 12 steps of overcoming addiction. And it's like just very similar to it, really. It's like
correct.
Acknowledging your brokenness.
I will tell you,
honest.
remember, we had everything first. So by the way, if you look at AA or SA or NA, all of these things, the 12-step programs, are absolutely rooted in fundamentals of Yiddishkeit. Absolutely. Rabbi Dr. Abraham Tversky, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, writes about this concept extensively, how the 12 steps, the truth is, are not just for addicts. The 12 steps, the truth is, are the 12 steps for the success. So we're going to see, the Piaget's obviously is operating us, but we're going to see absolutely some of the same yisodos are there. All right, Bosai Shkoyach. Again, thank you to our Scotch and bourbon sponsors. Bosai, who needs to daven Ma'ariv?
All right, we got 3.
What do we have?
Yeah, we have 10.
Yeah.
We're doing the show cleanup in here.
Yeah. Or I would just actually start it in here so you have it. Obviously, also.
Can everybody start throwing out their garbage? Thank you.
Yeah.